5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's time to count down reality TV's most talked about moments with Amanda Bella. Welcome back to Bella Talks TV, everybody. This is Amanda Bella, and I have an awesome treat for everybody this week. I've just really been getting into my podcasting game and just embracing what it is to be part of this community. And I connected with one of the coolest and most talented podcasters up and coming out of Houston right now. Her name is RAYA Hensler, and she is of the page and the podcast Coffee Meets Vodka. So she's going to be joining us to go through my normal show and countdown of the week. And it's going to be great to have somebody here to count down reality TV's most talked about moments. So welcome, RAYA.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. This is great. You know, this is my first time on another podcast, I think. I'm so excited.
Yeah, this is going to be great practice. Like, I really tell everybody, it's really like FaceTiming one of your girls that you haven't seen in a while and like catching up on all the latest drama. And it's really been such a fun thing to connect with people from all over the US. Like, I love Houston. We actually just did a swap, everybody too. So we'll be making sure we put all of the information in the show notes and having all the details. But I just recorded over on RAYA's podcast and we got into a bunch of different stuff. But one thing we didn't talk about, like I kind of gave my intro and my background a little bit over there, but we didn't get into hers too much. And I know she's living in Houston. I've been to Houston like 5 times. I love Texas. So tell me how you kind of got started in podcasting too and what's going on down in Texas.
I can't relate. Texas is kind of boring. First of all, I'm like smiling ear to ear. My like cheeks are hurting and therefore like the back of my like tendons in my neck are hurting. And I'm like, I feel like I'm in a pageant. Yeah. What about me? I don't know. I'm born and raised in Houston. Didn't choose it, but here I am. I love it. I mean, like it. I'm like,
but you're like me.
I like
you're
it.
Willing to move for love, opportunity, the right thing that comes up. Like you want to explore.
Yes, I was going to say I moved to LA to act in 2015, from 2015, 2018. And people are like, how did that go? And I'm like, well, I'm back. So didn't go that well. I wouldn't say it didn't go that well. It was also, I was 22, was just out there trying to like find myself as one does. Loved LA for what it was. I just kind of like woke up one day and was like, okay, I'm done. Like I want to move back home. Also tried to get my real estate license out there in LA.
That's so funny that you bring that up because we are going to be talking about selling Sunset. So I feel like you would have fit in perfectly in that cast.
Oh my God, I can't wait because I have so many thoughts. So I did try to get my license in LA, but I failed a couple of times. Wasn't the right time, kind of like a God thing, moved home. Long story short, I'm in real estate now in Houston and do podcasting. I do both things full time. I've been doing the podcast since 2019. It's always been my goal and my vision to do like the full production of it all with the camera, lights, camera, action, bitch, smile, you know, like lights, camera.
So profesh.
Yeah, thanks. I poured a lot into it. And, you know, it's kind of coming to fruition. And I know everybody and their mom has a podcast now, but it was my idea in 2016. Should have done it in 2016. You know, there's the right time for everything. And I will say I got out of my system everything that I needed to really be able to focus on real estate and podcasting and like building a brand, because it's not just a podcast, it's going to be a global phenomenon, if you will. I'm half kidding.
So aligned. No, you and I are so aligned in our thinking like that. Like when I started this too, I was like, I'm not half-assing this. Like if I'm going to do this, I'm literally going to try to be like the most popular podcast in the world, because why the fuck not?
Yeah. Why not? And then what's the point? Like if somebody wants to hear me talk, I could just go on Instagram for free, which people do love my stories. And surprisingly, a lot of people do actually watch my stories with sound on and like to hear my opinions and thoughts. I don't know. I always kind of think that's interesting because I'm like, me, little old me. But yeah, no, I'm loving it. I got all of that kind of out in my 20s of just like, what am I going to do with my life and whatever. And I'm like very happy to finally be settled or settling into the podcast world and real estate. I'm 4 years in real estate and 5 years in the podcast. I did take 2 years off with the podcast when I first started real estate because I wanted to focus on that. And then I rebranded last October with the whole video and like really full production of it all. So good things take time. That's all I have to say. Be consistent. And, you know, here I am meeting people all over the world. I really love it.
Yes, you're right. That is the key, consistency, just sticking with it. That is what really like it. I always have this vision, like, and I think it's really important. We talked about like manifesting a little bit when I was on your podcast this morning. And another thing I like to do is truly like visualize and use real visualization methods to like picture where I want to be and what I like envision my life being like a little bit down the road. And I think that's so important. Like, I think even as much as some of these reality TV stars that we're going to get into, I think that they had a similar thing for themselves. Like, they had to be a little bit delulu to be moving out to LA and like trying to get on these shows, or these people that are out in the summer house. Like, all of them had a little bit of them inside them too, that they were like, wait, who? Little old me? Like, you want cameras to follow me around? But like, because they're willing to be authentic and like show their lives, like us get on this mic and share things about ourselves, like that is going to come off very genuine to people, because they're going to want to connect with people that are also going through similar things in life. And we're all just like feeding each other and keeping this machine going. And I love being a part of it. I'm so glad I found you too.
Thank you. No, I do too. And I do think it's funny that like everyone and their mom has a podcast. Like, really, it is hard work. It's hard to come up with stories. It's hard to yap.
Hell yeah.
I'm an only child. I've been talking to walls and myself for 31 years. So I'm fine. But some people, it is really truly a skill. And I think if you're not passionate about it, or if it's not a topic that you're passionate about, or it's too niche of a topic, you might run out or burn out of topics or things to talk about, and either quit or segue. Not to be a hater, but it is always, I just love it when people quit real estate or quit podcasting. I'm like, yeah, fuck you, bitch. Move out of the way. You know what I mean?
Yes, I am not even kidding. Like, I'm the same way. It's so bad to like, I know, like, be happy about some people's like miss successes, but
yeah, like demise, but whatever.
Yes. I honestly love when somebody announces a podcast and then like a couple of weeks later it starts to like make its way through the zeitgeist that like that person, it's like what happened to it, like it ended already. Like Tom Sandoval is just someone who's coming to mind, who like when he had this huge production of his podcast starting, like people were really up in arms. Like, I don't know if it was 3 episodes, 4 episodes. It's like these, when you announce a podcast, like it really sends a ripple through people's like, because you assume, I totally you're like, oh my gosh. Yeah, you're like, I'm going to get to know this person like so personally, because a podcast is really like hours of their like most intimate thoughts and opinions. And you almost get excited to like seize that side of somebody. And then you tune in and it's just like base level bullshit. And then it disappears eventually and people forget it ever.
That was Amanda Bynes for me. And not that I liked her demise and that she stopped podcasting. That one I was kind of like, fuck, man, 1 episode, that's all we get. And she was like, we're not getting the guests that we need. Babe, what? I want to hear more. But yeah, everybody else, I'm glad they stopped.
Yeah, that's a perfect example though. Yeah, I love Amanda Bynes. I just saw it. Wow, what an interesting, it's funny how literally we're just talking about 2 random people, Tom and then Amanda Bynes. And Amanda Bynes was at Schwartz and Sandy's over the weekend trying all of the vegan fare.
What?
Yes, I don't know if you saw this. This is almost like breaking news, because I feel like this only happened like 36 hours ago. But Amanda Bynes
I didn't see that.
Schwartz and Sandy's on Saturday night and dined in, and she was taking selfies and taking pictures of the food and the menu, and she was going all in. So her review seemed good.
Oh my God, that is too funny. So did the moms were all in town or something as well.
Yes, I saw that also. We were talking before about our mistrust in Sherry Cartwright, Sherry Frosted Lips Cartwright, as we all like to call her, because she just is one of those moms that like menaces from behind. And like a lot of the VPR moms are like that. I think that they all like are very involved in the drama, and they all have a lot of opinions about like what their daughters and sons are doing on the show. So when they get together, I'm like, nothing good can happen of this. Like Stassi's mom, Kate's mom, and than Brittany's mom altogether at Tom Tom. Like, I'm sure I can only imagine the conversations that were happening. Yeah, that's a great time to segue into the OMG of the week, because we're talking about podcasting and just like what it's like to really stay committed. And somebody whose podcast was a little bit of a blind spot for me, but has been part of the podcasting. Like, I would say she was even kind of part of this first round of people that kind of started podcasting, is Kaitlyn Bristow of the Bachelorette fame. And her
Oh my
podcast,
God.
it actually wasn't even her podcast. She was on another podcast called You Up, which I think is on the Betches label. And Jared
Love
Freid.
Jared
And
Freid.
yeah, I love Jared Freid too. Big Jared Freid fan. I actually found him
I
through
followed-
The Bachelorette because he does his Bachelorette screams.
Yes, those are funny. I followed him. Oh my God, like even before that, like right when he started J Train, and like this is I remember when I was in LA, I like found him, or maybe even right before, so like 2014, 2015. I remember I would listen to his J Train podcast, and obviously it was more like dating advice, and like I think we're all kind of the same age, like, you know, mid, like, well, now he's what, 37, 38, so like mid 30s. And so he was like giving advice to like college guys, and it was kind of giving like the guy perspective on like what guys were thinking when girls would write in or whatever. And I was like, wow, this is like great insight. I don't have a brother or like, you know, anything, so it was like really cool. And then he's really done a lot too, so you know, he has like 3 or 4 different podcasts. But yeah, I saw him for my 30th birthday in New York at Gotham Theater.
Fun.
He was really good. It was his 37 and single or whatever on Netflix that he has.
That's so great. Yeah. That's really funny. He's always kind of like creeping around New York, and I haven't had a chance to see him live yet, but I love his content and love following him. And I couldn't believe that it was like his podcast basically that broke this huge story that's going on with him, with Kaitlyn and Tayshia. And I just, you know, going back, I got into The Bachelorette, the season of Emily, who was like the little Southern belle girl, and she ended up picking this like skater boy named Jeff. Like, that was the first season that it really like sunk into me that I was like starting to get invested in kind of these types of shows, and could see that like real love and relationships could come out of it. Because up until then, I kind of thought all of the, you know, of it, even though the first season with Trista and Ryan ended up being super legit and they're still together, you just always had a like, you know, chip on your shoulder about Bachelor, Bachelorette. Like, these couples aren't real. They're just kind of doing it for the show. But then we started to get into this era where like people were prioritizing real love and like being there for the right reasons. And around that time, we had a couple of really awesome bachelorettes come in and out of there. And Kaitlyn was one of them. Like, she, I think, was the first time they casted a bachelorette quite like her, that wasn't necessarily America's sweetheart. She's from Canada. She's got a little bit of an edge to her. She had some tattoos. Like, I remember even like when Becca K, she like had a tattoo, and everybody was like, ooh, one of the bachelorettes like has tattoos. Like, it just started to get like a little edgier and like a little bit different with Kaitlyn coming into the mix. And I didn't really like stan her. I didn't necessarily think that she was like the best bachelorette ever, but like I thought she was kind of a cool girl. And then she had this podcast, Off the Vine. She has her own wine. Like, she kind of became into her own success, and she made her 15 minutes really stretch out. And she's been kind of lingering around Bachelor Nation for a while. And then we have Tayshia, who is like the other part of this equation, who, she was one of my favorite bachelorettes. She, to me, was one of the first ones too that just got on there and was able to like call bullshit, and kind of was like calling the men out a little bit more. And, you know, there was a time before that where the men were running the show a lot of the time. And so some of these stronger female perspectives came into the show, and Tayshia was a leader of that. Another one was Rachel Lindsay. When she came on, she kind of like changed the game, demanded like more for the women. Becca was another one we named. So there's been kind of like this wave of these bachelorettes. But so I never really saw like feuds going on within Bachelor Nation. Like, the girls usually support each other. It's usually like one big happy family. Like, even if there's drama, you keep it on the DL. It's like speaking about family secrets. And now we have all this drama going on with Zac, who is the guy, the bachelor that won Tayshia's season of The Bachelorette with her. And she, got engaged to him. And he is a guy from New York City that is sober and has his own sober counseling business. And there's just a lot of drama going around this story. I want to definitely get all of your hot takes and opinions on it if you have any. But do you have a side that you're picking?
Do,
Are
yeah.
you Tayshia?
So, well, one, remind me, I'm not a huge Bachelorette or Bachelor Nation fan, but or watcher, I guess. But remind me, Tayshia came in for Claire, right?
Yes,
Finished
they did like
Claire's
a double
season or something.
Yeah, it was weird. Like Claire basically found out who some of her guys were before she went into like the show because it was the COVID season, and I think that they just had like time to be like locked away, and she was able to basically like make a connection with one of the guys, Dale, before they even. Like, so dramatic. Like Bachelor heads will know. Like the Claire and Dale drama was so intense at the time.
Yeah.
Needed.
Well, and I remember following that, and I actually went on a cruise with some of the Bachelor people. My best friend was on The Bachelor.
Oh my gosh, this is some hot tea.
This is some hot tea. She was on Colton's season. And I actually want to tell the story because this is our favorite story. And I'm going to get into the Tayshia of it all, but it ties into this because, of course, she kind of keeps up with Bachelor Nation like a little bit, right? So she was on Colton's season. She gets out of the car and she's like, I'm the Tajwan for you. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so weird. I was in LA, don't watch Bachelor. And all of a sudden I watched this one and I watched part of it and I watched JoJo's season, JoJo Fletcher, all the way through. Like that one I really loved, and I really loved her and Jordan. I mean, they were the real deal. I just felt it through my body the whole time. But so I randomly turn it on. I'm like, okay, let me watch Colton season. So I'm like, what? I'm freaking out. I'm like, that's so weird. Like, what are the odds? I was like, I used to have a kindergarten best friend named Tajwan. Like, what are the fucking odds that this girl's name's Tajwan? Like Rhea, Tajwan. This isn't like Sarah and Ashley. I'm sorry, but you know what I mean?
Yes, it's different.
So she's getting out of the car and she's like, I'm the Tajwan for you. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so cute and clever. And I'm like looking and I'm like, wow. If we were, that kind of looks like what Tajwan would look like now. And then I'm like, oh my God, she's laughing like her. And I was like, wow, I remember her laugh so much and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, my God, that's my friend. Like I was freaking out.
It's such a small world.
Yes. So we reconnected. We talk every day, all day. And I visited her. She lives in Denver now. So she moved away when she was in second grade. But I feel like maybe we just lost touch after second grade because this is pre-cell phones, pre-social media. We're old. As we said, geriatric millennials.
Yes.
So anyways, I love that. And going back to manifesting, I mean, wow, what a fucking theme of the day. I thought about her all the time and I'm like, God, I wonder what she's up to. And you get confused with like the last names and like whatever. And I was like, maybe she doesn't have social media. Anywho, found her obviously from this Bachelor Colton season. And anywho, then she goes on to like BIP, like I think 2 seasons or something like that. And then anyways, she ends up getting
she was also like no bullshit.
And she literally is like that in real life. Same with me. Like I think we're pretty the same on, I mean, I'm not on TV, but like on the podcast as I am in real life and vice versa.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. So anywho, she was the one that sent me the, drama of it all, the You Up podcast with Kaitlyn and Tayshia. I could not believe that she said that. I should have just sent her a picture of me sucking his dick. Babe, that's crazy.
No, that was wild. And I had to listen to it a few times back. So yeah, the full story is basically Kaitlyn decided to date Zac after they had broken up. And, she pretty much went to Tayshia and was like, would you mind if I decided to go out with like your old man? And yeah, Tayshia minded. She fucking minded a lot.
She minded.
And that's her right. Like, I have to be honest. There are exes that I dated when I was like 12. I still wouldn't want any of my friends dating them. Like, I don't get over things. It's the Cancer in me. It's the Scorpio in me. It's everything in me. Like, I don't get over things. Like, I just don't. And I've learned to be like, that's okay. I feel things deeply. Things do deeply affect me. And I'm not going to just like pretend they don't. And so I wouldn't want anybody dating any of my exes either. But yeah, she minded. And then instead of Kaitlyn having, I think, what you would think almost like some, it's okay for her to be like, damn, I'm a little disappointed. Like if she would have told this story to Jared, like I'm a little disappointed because I think Zac and I like really have a connection, but like I don't really know how much of a connection they can have anyway because Kaitlyn like loves her wine and this guy is sober and like I don't know. I just don't know. Maybe he dates a lot
Ben
of
and
women that
Jen.
drink. Yes, it's giving like, okay, we thought this would be a good like PR thing, or like we thought maybe like we're powerful together than we are, you know, better as a couple than separate. Like we can really get back into Bachelor Nation and like be one of these couples that like they fly out for the next season to Australia to come give advice one episode. And like a lot, this is like a basically like its own like economy at this point. The Bachelor, like once you get, they like take care of them forever. They have jobs, they have endorsements, they get invited to come on Bachelor in Paradise, they get invited to do all these things. So maybe they're just both clinging onto staying into that world. But the whole thing is weird. I mean, we talk about being a girl's girl. I think we both, decided we wouldn't want anybody necessarily coming after any of our exes, but like maybe Tayshia, even though I'm team Tayshia, her saying like, I
I'm
always
team
knew.
Tayshia.
Yeah, she's like, always knew you were evil. Like, I think it was giving like a little dramatic, but I'm okay with that. Like, it's like,
it was
good.
giving foreshadowing almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, for her. And then I saw one of those TikToks that were posted of them like dancing together and like all of their clips of them being friends, like a montage of their friendship. And it shows like if somebody does, you know, they give that quote like when somebody says you're your coworker, but really you guys are really good friends. Like we know like someone you work with, even just being able to podcast and spend time with you today, it's like I'm on a different level with you. Like if I see you in public, I'm not going to pretend like I don't know you. Like I'm definitely not going to go date with your exes now. Like it's like a mutual respect.
They're losers anyways. You wouldn't want to.
So yeah, it's safe to say we're both team Tayshia. But I just thought that was wild too. Like for you to say like you're gonna send your friend a picture of you sucking their ex's dick is totally bananas to me. I think if Kaitlyn's trying to establish herself as like a villain, then okay, maybe I'll be like I'll tip my hat to her like craziness, but
well, and then also to go on the pod and kind of say it as a flex.
Yeah, you could tell she was totally trying to show off, and it was like not
show off and like
doing what she thought it was doing.
Right, like it totally backfired. And then also the way that she comes for Kat Stickler, who's dating Jason Tartik, I think, which is Kaitlyn's ex-fiance. First of all, it's like Kat and Jason were always like, I'm like, oh, that's Kat, that's like they are so perfect together. I remember, and I never really followed Kat. I don't know if I follow her, but I do enjoy her content when it pops up, right? And I remember that video going viral of her ex-husband, and he was making fun of her for like, I guess, posting content, but then also, so he was like, you record me, I'll record you. And she comes in the house. This is like literally the only video that I saw of her initially. And he films her like yelling at him at her wits end again, women getting at their wits end today, you know, being like, yeah, I want you to do the dishes, get off your ass and pick up your shoes. Like, oh, you want to film me being crazy? Let me put on a show for you. And honestly, like team Kat, like he think that he got her and he literally did nothing of the sort. And I'm so glad that she's with somebody who like, oh, I have chills, who like truly seems like he cherishes her. She seems like a good person. And literally Kaitlyn, they were broken up for a while, I think, before he started dating Kat. And Kaitlyn literally, when they first got together, started some mean girl campaign against Kat.
Yeah.
So
she seems
what's going on there?
Yeah. She seems really just like so, she's just like almost very reactive, and like she doesn't really fully think out like what she's doing all the time. And that's great for reality TV, but when you're dealing with like real life relationships, it's not so great. Like I'll never forget,
it's not,
just to end on a note of like of Kaitlyn and Jason's relationship. Like they got engaged on the podcast. Like, do you remember that?
No, I don't listen.
Oh my God. They used to do their podcast together, and that's how Jason proposed to Kaitlyn, was on the podcast together.
This is giving Brax. This is giving Jackson Brittany's like seafood proposal.
It was just like doing way too much for public, like for viralness. And I think I've just had the ick from them for her for a while. But you're right. I'm happy Jason's happy and moved on. But like Kaitlyn, I can't get behind her. Yeah. But yeah, that was the OMG moment of the week. I could literally go on forever because I have so many opinions about just Bachelor Nation in general. But I had my jaw on the floor when I heard her saying that about the picture. I mean, I think that means that picture exists, which was like where my head went. Like, okay, you have a picture of you doing that to Zac? Like, TMI. But yeah, we'll lighten it up.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
My head was like, okay, that means like if you're going to send her the picture, okay, that means like there's a picture. Yikes. Just yikes. But making it lighter, like moving over to my LOL of the week, like talking about more about these reality TV girls, moving on from these insane relationships that happen on TV. And I'm glad we were kind of bringing up Selling Sunset earlier, because there's a new season. Season 8 is going to be premiering. The original cast of Selling Sunset is mostly back for another season of these Netflix shenanigans. And one of the main storylines that I'm hoping to see play out is going to be Christine Quinn coming back, joining The Office after everything that went down with, we were talking about trigger warnings earlier, but trigger warning, everything with her domestic violence, with her crazy ass billionaire husband that, through,
which is crazy.
Like just to get in a little bit, I won't even talk too much about the darkness of the true story that happened, but one day cops were called to the home of Christine Quinn, and her husband came outside in his dusty bathrobe and bath slippers and was arrested in their driveway after he was, maybe under the influence of something, unsure, unclear, allegedly. But he threw a bag at Christine, which had some glass in it. And because Christine was holding their child at the time, this was, a really big deal. So this man was arrested. They actually got divorced, which we love to see. We love to see this. It's like, can all other reality stars take note? Like, this piece of shit did something to her and she fucking left. She left. And I know it's not so easy for everybody to walk away, but if we can all have a little bit of Christine Quinn in us, it will hopefully show us like, it doesn't matter how much money he has. It doesn't matter how many bags he bought her, how many private jets he had. Like, it doesn't matter even that they have a child together. He did something crazy to her and she has zero tolerance. She has the self-respect and the self-worth to get the fuck out of there. And now we're going to hopefully see this play out. So are you a fan of Selling Sunset? Were you a fan of her on the show before? Because she was controversial.
Yeah, I guess I don't mind her. I don't like Selling Sunset as a whole. Now, have I watched all seasons and will I watch this one? Yeah, because I have to hate watch it. It's the slowest produced show on Netflix. This has been going on like pre-COVID, and then we're only on season whatever. I don't know, dude. I mean, if we want to really talk about real estate, I mean, owning Manhattan or $1 million listings in New York and LA, like that's like drama and, real estate. I guess not everybody has a business mindset. I don't know. I don't even think it's good drama, in my opinion. Now, yeah, okay, I'm going to watch it, but whatever. Also, I want to see Chelsea's divorce play out as well.
Yes, I love Chelsea. She is fascinating to watch to me. She's a really likable villain.
I mean, yeah, I don't even think she's like really a villain in my opinion. She's definitely playing. I think the issue with me is they're all terrible actresses. Okay. They're all just really bad. And I can literally see you reading the script in your mind. You know what I mean? About like, Chelsea's like, and is her accent real? Like, did we ever?
I have no idea.
To be real, it
has to be real, but like sometimes I do wonder if this girl was created in a lab.
Yeah, but like, there's no way that she's just gonna be British. Like the whole time. I mean, I don't know. Like, you're ordering a Starbucks and you're like, actually, can I get a grande? It's like, wait, what the fuck? Like, where's your accent? Oh, sorry, I've just been living in LA too long. Sorry, can I get a grande? Like, what? You guys forgot. But anyways, I do want to see Chelsea's divorce play out. I can't believe she's only 30, mind you. It's
so
giving like
young.
way super mature. And then like, first of all,
I think it's
I
the
do want to
accent
see
too, the
Christine back.
accent.
Yeah, I want to see Christine back on the screens as well, because I do think that was like some natural drama.
Yeah, that's going to be at
This
least not a
last girl,
fabricated storyline.
who was the one with this last girl that was yelling at Emma and Chrishell, calling Chrishell a mean girl? Also, them trying to say Chrishell's a villain, babe. The most unbelievable storyline.
Yeah, I agree. I like Chrishell. I
I do
see why
too. Hate the
people
name
would.
like her.
Yes, exactly. Like I love her and really her relationship with G Flip. I think that this has been like
Yeah.
probably the most like free she's ever felt, like the most like herself she's ever felt. I definitely do think that, West Coast, you lived in LA a little bit, like that things just happen out there. Like people are willing to kind of step over other people to kind of get to the top. And so I can see
Mhm.
Chrishell having had done that a little bit behind the scenes, where like maybe she was actually being and stirring up the drama a little bit more. And then when the cameras were on, trying to act, innocent, which is why I think people were like, hey girl,
Sure.
you're also talking shit. So I think now she's stepped into talking shit and owning it and being like, she has confidence. So I like her so much more because she's not
Well,
pretending.
she's also a Sag rising, and I really think it
Ooh.
shows. It shows in her outfits, and I think it shows a lot last season. And I do think she's really stepped into her own too, especially being with G Flip. And I think the confidence, she feels more vocal. She doesn't feel like like very people pleasy. Like I feel like she's kind of shed that a little bit. I don't
Yeah, I
know,
agree.
Brie. I mean, I'm still unclear about Nick Cannon in general.
Me too. I have a lot of thoughts, which again, that's like kind of why people weren't liking Chelsea last season, because she was like, "Yo, you don't think it's weird that like your father of your child can only see him like 3 days a year because he has so many other kids?" And because she was being
But I
vocal
think
about
that's
having that
valid.
opinion, yes, I was like kind of on Chelsea's side. But because
Mhm.
Brie is one of those people that can just be more like, she's almost like louder, so she thinks she's right. So I think she kind of got Chelsea to like cower, which was kind of interesting. So we'll see if she's like more vulnerable this season. The reason why I really chose this as my LOL of the week was because there's a video that circulated of Christine over the weekend that she had the caption, "While I'm healing, he's balding." I just
Oh
was
my god, I saw
dying.
that. That was so funny.
And she's on a boat like posing and like voguing and just living her best life. And i
I love
i just
that.
sat and watched it like laughing out loud to myself, like so true. Like there's no better feeling than knowing that your ex is balding. And her husband, he was not a looker, like not to be like that, but she definitely didn't
He
marry
looked
him for his
like
looks.
No, he looked like Tobias from Arrested Development.
Yes, totally. It was we knew that there had to be some true love or true money or something going on there, because it was not for that, but he's definitely balding, and it's probably going to be completely bald by the end of this season airing.
I would be stressed too if like she's taking half my money or whatever, even anything. I don't care. I love it. I will say one of the last things about Selling Sunset is I think just as a person in real estate, I find it like just very annoying because they use a lot of terminology wrong. And I know that like I live in Texas, which the terminology is different, but the meat of real estate is different. I mean, I'm sorry, the meat of real estate is all the same. They're not selling. They're not selling. They're not selling
No.
Sunset, actually. Could you imagine? First of all, it exhausts me looking at them because the amount of hours and the time that they have to wake up to then get ready, to then do the call time, to then sit in LA traffic and then do the thing, and they can't bend and they have to call a car. I mean, I have no idea how fucking long it takes them to film a 5-minute scene. I would assume at least 12 hours. But
Yes.
two, the outfits for me, just I wouldn't be selling real estate in that. Fucking tits out, coochie out. More
It's
power to you. I'm not judging.
inappropriate.
It's inappropriate. And like also in the last season, okay, first of all, there's some obsession with realtors on TV getting in bathtubs and getting in showers with and without their clients. I've personally never gotten in a shower with a client or showing a house or anything like that. Like I just have never done that. Two, when Heather, Ray, and Bree went to go show that house, like kind of one of the last episodes last season, and they bring that like 22-year-old skater or whatever, and they go down to the movie theater to see if it's soundproof and scream and like hoot and holler, and then she gets in the shower with it. Babe, it's giving sexual harassment.
It really is. You're right. The shower thing is weird. That's always so weird. And when they're always like, this is where the magic happens, like in the bedroom, it's like, can we not?
No, but that was just my thing about the outfits. It's too fucking much. In the heels, walking up the stair. Like, are we selling homes and doing deals? Are we looking cute? And that's fine. They're looking cute and with Emma's empanadas and flying PJs and like whatever. Okay, I love it. But like,
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't
just
know if it
looking
could be for
cute.
me.
No, it's definitely not about real estate, but you're right. I will watch every episode and completely forget I watched it the next day. That's like the best.
Yeah.
It just
like blackout.
Like, I don't remember. Yeah. The fact that we like ran through, we were able to remember some things from last season. I'm really proud of us.
I'm actually, yeah, no, me too, because I'm like, I know I've watched every episode and it's not burned into my brain.
The main plots, but yeah, it was really good. But yeah, that was my LOL of the week, everybody. Stay tuned for that new season of Selling Sunset. I think it was September 6th or something hitting Netflix. So I'll definitely be covering it and talking about it. So you'll want to tune in and watch. And we're going to move right into my top 5 countdown. So we're going to be jumping around a little bit still, and we have some fun things to discuss. And some of the things we talked about a little bit on Raya's podcast this morning too, but there's always like more, like we've been obviously proving that we can talk about this stuff for hours at a time. And there's still things that we even talked about earlier that I'm like, I still have more points to make about that. So we might be circling back on some of those topics.
Wait, yeah, I love that. Cross promote. It's like, okay, if you didn't get enough, come here.
Yeah. It's like, if you want to hear more about Wes Wilson's dating show, this is the show for you, because we talked about it a little bit on your show, and that's my number 5 most talked about moment of the week. It really is getting some traction. I'm seeing a lot of people online being like, what is this show? What is the point? Who gave West another show? Like, we're getting enough of him. And I have to talk about it because I think it's actually an interesting concept. And they're actually like little short videos. They're about 11 minutes long, and they're interview style dates where he's going to be clearly going out with different people that he's been set up with that are part of the zeitgeist. Oh. And he is on this first episode with the Hawk girl. And her name is Haley Welch, and it's very
I remember.
clear.
Oh my God, gross.
It's so interesting. Like, a lot of people are not happy about this, and that's why it's becoming such a most talked about moment of the week, because they're like, okay, fine, give West a show, but like, why do we have to have the Hawk girl on there? And this reminds me of Ariana Madix. It's like, I don't think it's her fault that she keeps popping up everywhere. People keep hiring her for shit. So she's just like saying yes. But I can tell, like, tell me how you feel about this chick, and like, have we had enough?
Well, definitely have had enough. I remember now that you're saying that, I blacked out. Reposted this saying, oh my God, Hawk to a girl, not interested. Maybe that's why I didn't watch this weekend. I literally blacked out and forgot that was part of the episode. One thing about me, if you think that type of humor is funny, if you thought any meme about that or any type of Hawk Tua was hilarious, we're just not the same people. We have different humors. Not for me. Not for me. Now, I'm not mad at her for quitting her job or getting fired, whatever, and capitalizing on this. Okay. Certain demographic. She wants to move to Vegas, and I think she would actually thrive there. Wes Wilson, Bravo dating show, make it stop.
Yeah.
Not for
Nobody
me.
asked for it, but somehow we're here with it. And it's a perfect excuse for what seems like it's going to be like people who are just like on the cusp of having like any real talent or like real things to offer, just like getting together and talking about who they want to be like perceived as. Like, a lot of this, a big part of this date that I did watch all 11 minutes of was girl Haley Welch talking about how she doesn't want to just be known as this girl that was part of this viral meme. There's a lot more inside to her, and she wants people to know, that she's more of a caring person, and she actually is not looking for the fame. And it's like, okay, that's fine. I guess I believe you, babe, but I also think like if you really didn't want it, you would just say no. But she almost goes on to talk about how she kind of is poor. And then you start to kind of like switch your perspective a little bit. You're like, okay, this girl needs money. She dropped out of college. She says she has like a sick grandma. I'm like, okay, she tugged on my heartstrings a little bit. So now am I all of a sudden becoming like a hawk to us? Like they got me. The point of this show is to get me to like her more, like West more. I came out kind of liking them more. I'm a sucker.
I mean, I have heard that, and I think she said she was going to start a podcast or something. I think she should just team up with Kaitlyn Bristow, switch back and forth tips about, going down on guys, and there you go. There's your show.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I did hear that. I mean, I do think she has like a sad story. She also trademarked Haktua, I'm pretty sure, and she wants to do merch and stuff. So I think it's more of like a double-edged sword that maybe she doesn't want to be famous for this, but then at the same time, she got fired from teaching. So I think she was teaching pre-K or kindergarten, so she couldn't like go back to the kids, which I think was stupid, but whatever. I don't know. I guess write out your 15 minutes of fame, write a tell-all book. She's 22 though. Like what kind of knowledge do you have at 22? I'm not saying that she's not smart, but like what kind of like life lessons other than like, or she should like team up with like Sex with Emily or just really ride this like sex wave like Paris Hilton rides the like dumb blonde, until the following and and like an audience and then kind of leverage it and be like, oh, it was all a bit. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes,
I don't
exactly.
know.
You're right. I think she's caring too much about what people think already, and you're not going to make it then. Like, you have to have such a thick skin in this industry. And if she's already like embarrassed or wanting to like change the narrative, like she's going to probably not make it. Like, to bring up a different internet trend that took the internet by storm was this like very demure, very cutesy, very mindful trend.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, that's not that girl's fault either. Like she just was making her content and it got picked up and then she started getting brand deals and then people were starting to post about her. It's like they weren't really necessarily thinking they were going to be famous from what they were doing, but like you have to lean in. Like I love how
you have to lean in.
At least it's like you can't be like embarrassed then. You can't be like, oh, I don't want to just be known for that. Like you don't see the mindful girl being like, I'm more than mindful. Like I'm actually no. She's doing literally one thing. She's making very mindful, very demure TikToks all day long, and it's the only thing she says. And that's it. It's like a one trick pony, and that's okay. You don't have to be like such a multifaceted person to find success, but. Yeah, I think the dating show is going to be interested. I tried to look to see who the next guest is going to be, and they haven't announced it. So I don't know if they're just going to like be dropping these episodes randomly, but I don't know if there's going to be 4. I don't know if there's going to be 10, but we'll have to just stay tuned to see what other dates West goes on.
TBD, TBD. And can I sign up? Can I sign up? Like,
can we get Raya on a date with Wes Wilson? Please, can we find out?
Yeah, I personally think me and Wes would get along well. He's a Capricorn, but I think he has a Sag moon, which they can be a little mean, but I can be mean as well. So, that's that.
Mean?
I'm just kidding.
No, it really is the thing. Like you have to just own things about yourself. Like we can't all be like delicate flowers and be like we talked about on your show earlier, being so soft all the time. Like some of us are just the way we are. So it's better just to be like, hey, who I am, and you can accept me or not. It's when people deceive.
I feel like
which is what West did that people were like, okay, are you a fuckboy, a player? If you are, just own it. If you're not, then pretend you're so innocent.
And I was going to say, I feel like we're besties now, and I feel like you get me, but maybe your audience doesn't. I'm not really that mean, but of course, like, people fear my wrath for a reason. But no, I agree. And like Team West, I love Ciara, and I see her point, and I see West's point as well. I don't want to, I guess, pick sides, because I definitely saw both of their sides in that scenario. And I think there was a lot that we also didn't get to see, right? But I don't think West should be really villainized for not wanting to date Ciara. I mean, Ciara wasn't super aggressive and made the move like, West, I want to date you, like be my boyfriend right now. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe that's me. Maybe I'm too aggressive because kind of just come out the gates really hot with stuff because I don't have time to waste. You know what I mean? It's like, I am who I am. This is who I am. And it just, oh my God. Can I just say, way that they danced around for 3 fucking months each weekend, babe,
It could never be
I
me.
would have been, it could never be me. I would have been bored by weekend 2. I probably would have been bored by hour 48. We didn't fuck. We're not married. We're not going on a date on Monday. We don't have plans. I'm immediately bored. I do not like small talk. I don't like slow in that regard. I don't like if I'm interested, I'm interested. Like, you don't have to necessarily stop dating everybody else, but like, let's like kind of pursue, let's make an action plan and blah, blah, blah. My God. They like just kiss at the end of summer. Child, I was so bored. That could never be me.
I know. Same. It's really interesting. A lot of people were like trying to figure out if West and Sierra were still going to be doing this dance next season. I don't think so. From what I understand and what I've heard, they've like not even spoke to each other at all. So don't expect any continuation of that in next season. But
well, then that's kind of weird. How are they filming?
Yeah, exactly. They're just, I guess, avoiding each other, or I don't know. She's just giving him the cold shoulder.
Here we go again.
I know. I'm already bored with that again. So,
well, and I want to say, just because I love my best friend so much and I just want to like talk about her all the time, literally doppelganger is Sierra. Like Tajwan and Sierra, their mannerisms, the way that they talk, I literally say it all the time. I was every time Sierra's on my screen, I look like this. Because I'm like, that's my friend. But it's like not, but it just reminds me so much of Tajwan. And that's what I told her. It was like, me and you both need to go because like it was my idea, bitch. You know what I mean? But could you imagine her and Sierra together? Like it would just be
yeah, you're right. Oh, that would be kind of fun. I would love to see them
together.
Be fun. Yeah, that was a really like I could always talk about Summer House. I could do like an episode. I should have a Summer House like podcast. I could talk about it forever.
I love Summer House. It gives me FOMO.
I know, me too. It's the best. Like that, and we'll move on to my number 4 most talked about moment of the week because it's similar vibes, and we're going to be talking about like the future of Vanderpump Rules in the Valley a little bit again. And we talked a little bit about Brittany and Jax this morning, but I really want to see too, like how you're feeling about the rest of the Valley and the people on the Valley and how you really predict like next season is going to be, because we just got word that Lala and Sheena have been popping in and they have now been filming in, I guess, for placement of Jax as a placeholder of Jax for some scenes while he was getting treatment. And, you know, Lala's about to give birth. Her due date is September 2nd. So there's just like a lot going on out there. Like, how do you feel about Lala on the Valley? And do you think she should even come back to VPR?
No, neither of them. I'm gagged because literally the end of the season finale, I remember her and Sheena were making their PR moves of like, oh, we're trying to pitch to get on the Valley season 2. And I remember the show creator, forgot his name, Adam, or maybe not. Anyways, the show creator, I forget.
Yeah, the producer, the Jeremiah guy, he, I know, has been an instrumental part in getting them to switch over.
But I remember whoever the creator was like, no, we're not hiring anybody. The cast is perfect the way that it is, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden now they're fucking on the Valley season 2. I mean, I don't think those are like good characters to add, like maybe Lala, but like Sheena, she's like a gnat, like just a little sister that always wants to play with your toys and like never gets the attention because you're like a teen and she's 5. And like, I feel really bad. And I think Sheena needs significant therapy, but like, who am I to judge? And I feel really bad for her. But at the same time, annoying as fuck. Like, don't need you on my screen. It's just so thirsty. I mean, I don't know. I know they are friends with Brittany, but then the whole Michelle and Lolly of it all, what's his name? I thought that was Jesse. Crazy. He was such a Jesse. Yeah. He was such a horn dog. And I'm like, damn, do you fuck? And obviously he doesn't. And
no,
I'm like, hello, do you literally watch this back? Because I'm disgusted as well. I'm turned the fuck off. You're like a 17-year-old boy. Like, get off me. Ugh.
Yeah,
Gross.
they were such an interesting couple to watch. Like, I loved getting to know some of the new characters on the Valley, and then the mix of getting the old too. I think that there were some flaws in the first season. I mean, they casted Janet, and Janet was a little bit of a polarizing character for some people because she wasn't playing her cards right, and she wasn't allowing like some of the drama to play out, and she wasn't like filming certain scenes with people, and it kind of like fucked up the show to me because we know that like these cast trips are so important, and like it was just like, to me, everybody was like gagged over the first season. I'm like, I don't know. I didn't really think it was like that good. I think people were just excited to see the downfall of Jax, and they were like, yes, they were like salivating. But I don't know. Season 2, I think, should be hopefully better.
I definitely thought it was better than what I thought it was going to be. Does that make sense?
Low expectations, yes.
Yeah, like I didn't think it was the most amazing thing that I saw, but I definitely thought it was good. Like it was like I definitely watched every episode and was like, oh, need to catch up. Like I didn't fall off. I love Kristen. I don't care. I've always been a Kristen fan. Like truly, I'm like, what do you mean she's right? Like, okay, but the way that she was really saying information, it's like something I would do as well. But I know I don't want to be like she had hate in her heart because I really do think she means well. But I also think that she knows that she has a job to do. I think it's also so delulu that she is 40 and trying to have a baby with this guy that she met at a wedding who lives in another state 99% of the time. I mean, there's classics like that just, you can't make it up.
No, you can't. I really think Kristen is she probably has no business being on the show, first of all. But I think what is keeping her like somehow part of this is because of her relationship with Luke. Her and Luke just bought a house. It seems like it was filmed for this season. So her and Luke are only moving forward and getting more serious, which that's crazy. Really want. I would have loved to see a chaotic Kristen like breakup single season where she was just like a kamikaze, like almost having no attachment to anything. I would have loved to see her like bouncing around and kind of just being like a Zac, because Zac is so messy and in the mix. I love Zac.
I love Zac, and I love Zac and Kristen together. Yeah. I actually think Jasmine adds a lot as like a side character. Like I know she's not super main, but I think when she does talk, she fucking adds and she brings it, or she puts people in their place. Like she definitely is needed, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree. It's such an interesting cast. I think they're going to work out some of these kinks for the second season. I'm not excited to see. I used to be the biggest Lala fangirl. Like I am like heartbroken. I'm like mourning what was. I mean, I fucking stand her. And I'm so disappointed. She's like Bethany level of fall from grace for me now. Like I can't I listen to every podcast. Like one thing about me is that I'm not just a podcaster. Like I'm a podcast consumer. I usually listen to like to 10 episodes a day if I'm not recording. Like I want to hear everyone else's opinions. I want to hear, I can pretty much.
You're in the know, girl.
I'm in the know. Like I really do wake up every day. And like as soon as I wake up in the morning, I put my AirPods in and I'm fucking consuming information. So the fact that I don't listen to Lala's podcast anymore is insane to me. Like I got so sick of her that I can't even bear to listen to her anymore. And it really hurts me. I don't know like what she's going to have to do to be able to become like digestible again, but there's no way we're going to be able to handle having her on the Valley and VPR. If she's acting a fool, I don't know what I'm going to do.
I know. Did it start with last season, or when did it start for you, uncoupling of Lala Stanship?
Yes, I think I started to like consciously uncouple from her when she just like could not take one like breath, one pause of this last season to just like be on the right side of history. Like she to me just was so determined. She was Rinna-ing, and we love Rinna. We love our Rinna. But Rinna also lost her position because she the line just a little too far. Like she just was, it's like that producer's pet, and like she'll deny all day long, and she still gets online and is like, no, I wasn't. And it's like, girl, if you just admitted I was lost in the sauce, the producers got in my head, I fucking made some mistakes, will you guys please just like accept that it wasn't my best season, and I'm going to come back next season and I'm going to fucking be hanging with the girls. I'm going to show you guys that like I had a moment of temporary insanity. She is doubling, tripling, quadrupling down. And I haven't seen her still to this day be able to admit that she played like any hand, any card wrong. And I can't live with that. I can't live with that. I need acknowledgement.
I just think it's crazy that like after all these seasons of her denying that like she knew Randall was married, that like this last season when Ariana was getting all of the attention from Scandal, she was like, I know what it's like to be Raquel, a mistress. It's like, what, bitch? You literally said that you weren't a mistress. And now all of a sudden, because it's like not cool, but like all of a sudden now it's beneficial to be like a convenient to be like a mistress or sugar baby or whatever you want to call it, that now she's claiming it when years she said that she never knew. I just think that's weird.
Yeah, I agree. I also like have this thing now too, where I used to be able to compartmentalize like my reality stars and what they're doing on TV and then how they live their real lives. And now just, I don't know if it's just the world we live in now with social media or whatever, that bridge has been gapped so much. And I just think about her in real life, and I'm like, I don't think I would like her. She seems really hard to deal with, and she seems unable to see anybody else's opinion. And I don't know. I also don't trust anybody that like really has no friends. And like sometimes I'm like, I don't ever see her with anybody. Like, so it can't all just be all of us.
It's only at the cast.
Like,
it's only the cast. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yikes.
But I mean, this is actually a great way to segue into my number 3 most talked about moment, because it's somewhat similar. Moving over into Beverly Hills, we actually haven't been on my phone much today because we've been busy. But today, supposedly, the jury should be being reached in this Tom Girardi trial. And we're going to soon if he is guilty or not of these crimes that he committed. And this really snuck up on us this summer, because this isn't a televised trial. This isn't something that if you're not following along and knowing that this is going on right now, then you wouldn't know that he's in court right now getting his, basically he's going to be finding out, you know, the verdict now. And this jury, I mean, do you find him guilty in the court of Rhea? Like, how do you feel about the Tom Girardi trial?
Totally thought that he wasn't going to court anymore because he, you know, pled not temporary insanity, but like has dementia or whatever, Alzheimer's. So I didn't know that he could still be on trial.
That was his defense. And they then did an investigation where he had to go through a series of these, you know, interviews and stuff where they basically are able to determine if you're actually of sound mind or not. And he passed all of the tests to stay on trial. I think that this was probably in the spring.
I mean, good for him. Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And so so they obviously found that he was able to stay on trial. He's been there now. I think he's been in court for about a week's worth, like 7 days worth of being in front of everybody. And we're going to find out soon. Some of the things that I have heard is that one thing I thought was really interesting is that part of his defense, or part of the, was the other side, and you can tell I'm not a law girly, and everything I say is alleged.
You're not a law girly.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I'm not a law girly, so I don't really know how to like fully explain things sometimes. But I know that these people that are trying to prosecute Tom, they decided to display some evidence in what was unseen footage from the Beverly Hills trial. And so I found out from some of these people that were like there in the courtroom that they actually were able to subpoena Bravo, get some of this unseen footage of Tom and Erica to use and actually show during this trial. They wanted the jury to see this. And what it is it's a scene that everyone kind of remembers. Erica was wearing that like pink blazer dress, and she has everybody over to her house, her and Tom tells this crazy story about John Wayne. And basically why they tell this story and some of the unseen footage is because he's able to recall a lot of details of things. He's able to tell stories that have happened a long time ago. He's able to remember these points, and some of the unseen footage, he tells other stories, and he's actually able to, I believe he was naming statistics. He was naming specific percentages and numbers of things. And they were like, this was only 5 years ago or whatever. And this was right in the middle of when he would have been stealing this money, when he's trying to say he was insane or has dementia. So they're basically showing like he was telling stories, he was remembering facts, he's remembering numbers, he's doing math, the math is mathing. There's no way this guy didn't know what he was doing. And we're going to have to find out if this is actually going to be like the smoking gun, if this Bravo footage is going to be what gets him a guilty verdict. But it's really crazy that Bravo really did get used in all of this. And I just don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if Erica is going to end up being implicated in this now. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think that's crazy. I'll never forget. I think it was that same episode where her, Tom, LVP, and Todd go to dinner. I remember like he was talking to LVP and Erica was kind of like finishing his sentences. Just, I don't know. I do that too. It's like a bad habit. I don't know if it's like ADD, ADHD, like whatever, but she was like, oh yeah. And then he goes, Erica, please. And I just remember I was on an island by myself saying something's fucking up there and nobody believed me. And so like, I literally told like a couple of people, like of just my friends, and they're like, no, I don't think so. Like, I don't even know if I tweeted it. I might've tweeted it, but like, that was kind of weird. Or like talking in Bravo groups. Maybe I was like in a Bravo group, or maybe I was just like surveying the land and nobody else was talking about it. I was like, okay, that's weird. Maybe I'm the only one misread the scenario, but I absolutely didn't. I clocked it before everybody else and I was like, something's fucking up there. I mean, yeah, I think he's a horrible person. I did so much research, obviously, probably not as much as you. One thing about me, I'm not really a researcher. I am a yapper and I kind of know stuff, and then hopefully people like you fill in the gaps.
I love that about you.
But I do not do research. But I did go down a couple of rabbit holes of like, you know, the documentaries that everybody saw. You know, and I mean, I think it's crazy that he got famous off of, you know, Aaron Brockovich and suing G&E or PG&E or whatever the fuck it's called. And, you know, the Lion Air situation was like the third time that has happened. So like he was somehow ahead of it, and then Boeing was suing. I mean, it's so deep. Don't even get me started. I talked about it like on a Boeing episode, but like, truly don't get me started. But yeah, I do think he did it. Now, do I think she knew? No, I used to think yes. And then maybe she was on a need to know basis, or maybe she just didn't question it. I'm not sure. Because I know she's not stupid either.
Yeah, exactly. I think, gosh, it is so hard. It is so hard. I do think she knew. Something in my gut is just telling me that she knew. I don't want to say that. I don't want to believe that about her. I find her very entertaining. I love her personality, but that like a lot of people who do bad things are very enigmatic and are very charismatic, and that's why serial killers
what does she say?
Cult leaders exist.
What does she say on her tagline? I'm an enigma wrapped in diamonds, blah blah blah, or like whatever the fuck she says.
It's like, so she just, yeah, it's like, how did she get there? Like, they definitely stepped on some people to get ahead in life. Their karma is coming. I don't know if Erica's really going to be able to, it seems like she might squeak out of this and kind of be able to just continue, hopefully, you know, not lawfully being implicated, but she'll still always have this like stain on her from this. So yeah, it's not great. I'm interested to see what's going to happen. I can't believe that it really went to a place of trial.
Yeah. Would you go to her show?
I think I would. I don't think that I think I'm like, okay, she's a bad person, but almost like how people are still able to like, well, there were like actual victims. Like that is the thing that gets everybody. It's like there's financial crimes and then there's like victims. Like it's, you know, there are people that suffered because of that. So I think you're right. Like, is that somebody I want to support? Oh, it's so hard. I don't know. Until we know if she really has her hands dirty, then I don't know.
Well, and then it's like, how are you saying about the victims? You know, the guy that was on the documentary that was the burn victim that needed a bunch, and he lost his girlfriend and his grandma, or not his. Oh yeah, no, his girlfriend and his mom, and the best friends. The mom's best friend, I think, was talking on his behalf or something like that. I just think just because he got up to go get something in the kitchen and then they blew up in the living room, I mean, that's fucking gut wrenching. I mean, my God, when I saw that, I was like crying. That was so hard to watch. And then the fact that, like, you know, you win the lawsuit against this conglomerate, as we've discussed, and like you think you're gonna like truly have means to have medical care for the rest of your life, because you know it's just gonna be one thing after another, right? And then it's gone.
I
That's
know.
really sad. That's hard. That's hard to
So
digest.
sad. It is. Watching all the documentaries about everything going on, a lot of the things that were revealed, it's a really sad story that this is happening, and I'm kind of glad that the trial will be over. Maybe people are able to finally get some justice and some peace from this today. But
Is it
definitely the
is it
end of an
just him going to
era.
jail though?
I'm honestly not
Because he
100%
doesn't have
sure.
money.
Like, yeah, I know. Yeah. I really don't know how this is going to play out. I don't know what exactly is going to happen to him if he finds out if he's guilty. Um, ugh, I'm not sure, but it's not going to be good.
Well,
I can tell you that much.
TBD.
Yeah, TBD is true. I'm sure. Like, hopefully, we'll know soon. I really hope the jury. They were saying that the jury was even going to maybe be done deliberating last night, but then it went into today. So I'm sure we'll be knowing soon. I'm like, maybe I should just do. I should just do it. Sometimes I do like to do this when I'm recording. Is like just do a quick thing and like see if there's like any breaking news.
Just look.
Let's just see if he is
Breaking news.
Yeah, I'm like
Okay,
10 days ago, former Real Housewives husband Tom Girardi found guilty of wire fraud and embezzlement case. So he's guilty. Now it
good.
Yeah, facing 4 wire fraud charges over allegedly stealing money. Yes, yes, yes. I mean, it's good that he was found guilty because we know that he had a chokehold on LA. Like he was controlling everybody there, the
The
police,
courts.
the courts, everybody. So it shows that he wasn't able to like buy himself out of this one. This is why juries are important and why trials are important. I actually just got called for jury duty on September 3rd.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. Well, yes. Breaking news: Tom Girardi is found guilty. Number 3 most talked about moment of the week. I'm sure we'll be still talking about this into next week now and things that are going to come out. But kind of staying over on the West Coast, my number 2 and my number 1 like moments of the week, they're kind of entangled a little bit. We're going to be hanging out in the OC here for a minute, so
Love
I
it.
have a couple of weird stories that I just am
I'm
like,
sorry.
okay,
Can you hold on one second?
we're just moving over into the OC, and there's a couple of like just funny stories that are like kind of just camp. So we'll end on like some light notes, hopefully, here after getting into all that darkness. But the number
Love
2,
it.
actually, this is not a light story at all. This is just like funny to me because we don't know if it's true or not. But my number 2 most talked about moment is this rumor that's going on. So I don't know if you are a fan or if you have a strong opinion about 2 T's in a Pod, this Teddy and Tamra podcast. Have you ever listened?
I've never listened. Like Tamara in general, I always have. I've always loved her and Vicky. Now I'm not caught up in the slightest on OC. I'm aware of like the regular, like kind of what's going on with Shannon just from clips and stuff. Teddy, boring as shit.
Yeah.
I don't know
I'm
who
so
told her
hoping he
she
gets
needs to have a
released
podcast
on.
and to like talk, but
No, the reason why
whatever.
Teddy is getting some success from this podcast is because they're willing to basically just like to say it all, mention it all, and they
Mention
have this.
it all.
Yes, and they love to have a guest on, and Teddy loves to interrogate. They call her like Teddy Walters because she thinks that she's Barbara Walters. She wants to ask all these hard hitting questions and like uncover all of these truths, and she's so annoying. But I totally hate listen. And they had Melissa Gorga on over the weekend or towards the end of last week, and there's this clip going viral right now that everyone's talking about where Tamra and Teddy basically, this is what they do. They love a good shock moment, like a good shocky, like shock value. But they ask Melissa about this rumor that's online that Danielle, and the reason why Danielle doesn't speak to her brother anymore is because she beat up and like physically assaulted his wife. And this is just like, I know. And it's such a, I don't know if there's any truth to this rumor, but the fact that so many people are talking about it, circulating it, and like making something out of something that we have actually no idea, which is if it's true or not, is just crazy to me. And it's just really like an experiment in just this fandom and how things move so fast and how people believe anything that's put out about like the characters that they don't like, or they'll totally their characters that they do like. And it's just this weird like thing that we have in this fandom that we deal with. And I just didn't know if like you heard anything of this. Did you watch the new season of Jersey that was just on? I know a lot of people did not.
Wait, Jersey or
Jersey first? Yeah, because like it's Tamra,
for
so
Melissa.
that's why it's
yeah, no,
yeah, it's like a weird bridge.
yeah.
But just your thoughts about Jersey.
So
and Danielle mostly.
No, I'm also not caught up on Jersey. I think I'm still on. I think I'm on season 7. Oh my God. Teresa just got back from jail. Her and Jacqueline just made up. Peggy, or whatever her name is, the super conservative girl. What's her name? Siggy Flicker or Fletch. Yeah, she's on. So I was just introduced to her. Yeah, I don't know Danielle, although she did come up on my Instagram search the other day. She posted a picture of her husband, and I swear to God, I thought it was Charlie Puth. Oh, I thought it was like Charlie Puth cosplaying.
Yes, I could totally see that. I could see that. Yeah, they're like an interesting couple. I mean, yeah, you don't have to know too much about them. To be honest, like they haven't been like the most interesting characters ever. But I just thought that was so crazy that there's this rumor circulating and that like other housewives are spreading it, and then they're having other housewives on their podcast to talk about it. And like, it's just a really weird, and like it with the podcasting and everything that goes on off the shows as they bring onto the shows. And that's a big reason why this version that we know of the New Jersey show is supposedly going to be canceled, is because a lot of the problems they were bringing up on the show, allegedly Teresa and Jen or whoever were kind of planting stories with bloggers and other Instagram pages, pages.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
That it's like, it could have been me. Like Teresa could have been in my DMs and like, hey girl, look at this clip from the screener from next week's episode, and like make sure you spread rumors about this or whatever. Like it could have totally
Monica
been me.
Garcia. What's up?
Bella Von Teese. Like it really could have been any of us. So it's just like another thing for everyone to keep warning about. Like, let's try to keep this stuff on the shows. If this even is true, if this rumor is true that Danielle beat up her brother's wife and that's why they refused to film and be on the show or whatever, then okay, let them. Like sometimes we don't really need to know everything that they don't need to tell us.
Everything. Yeah.
It's just like this idea that we're exposing and bringing everything onto the shows. Like these shows still are for entertainment purposes. They aren't supposed to be some like true crime documentary. So
right. And I just feel like, yeah, I just feel like the housewives have just, when people say, oh my God, I love when the girls fight. I personally, that's not why I watch it. I watch it because like OG, Roni and stuff like that. Like they're just all friends and, they're living in New York and they're living like this other life. And they're just doing like fun stuff and they have dynamic personalities. And they're, at the end of the day, they're all friends and they're all interesting in their own way. So it works. I'm not a huge fan of the New York reboot. They don't fucking know each other from Adam. I think we've gotten really lost and really far from the plot of Housewives. Beverly Hills has been stale for a long time. I don't think I talked about this on my episode, but going back to like, Garcelle and Sutton. I mean, I like Garcelle on her own, but she's boring. Doesn't add anything to Housewives. Sutton, same thing, boring. Like, I think it would be cute, and I've said this for maybe Sutton and Garcelle to do like a Crappy Lake spinoff type thing or whatever. But I don't think that they kind of match on Housewives. Erica does delusional lawsuits, 45 and stripping. Like, come on. Even Renna, like, I don't think Renna should have gotten fired. I mean, there's just so many better like Crystal, boring as shit.
Yeah, I was happy when
And
she got let go.
Yeah, and actually, it's one of my friends' aunts, like one of my friends' friends. So I'm like 3 degree or 2 degrees away, whatever. But my friend's aunt is Crystal, and she's the exact same, like very boring. Also, didn't talk about her business or like her water or like her husband being like the king of Disney. Like, come on. Like, I don't
Yes.
know.
I
It
love her
just, there was
husband.
so many. I do too. Like, honestly, I
Something's off
would
with
rather have
him.
him
There's
on.
something there. Yeah, and I would love to see
Right.
him be like a weirdo.
And the way that I love New Jersey as well, one, they're all friends, but most of all, they're family. Like the Wakilis and Rosie, and the husbands are just as in it. And Jersey husbands have always been in the mix. I don't know why we got on this tangent, but yeah. So that's my thing on that. And I just think we've gotten really far from the plot. And now it's like exposing and plotting stories and beating up who and throwing drinks and just what the fuck? You guys are 60. Yep. You guys are almost on Social Security. Stop it.
It's exactly, yep, that's the exact point I was making. And that's exactly why I made this like my number 2 and number 1 most talked about moments of the week, because it bridges right into my number 1 most talked about moment of the week, which is like Alexis Bellino and Shannon. Like, people are not getting enough of this feud. And it is, I mean, we have extortion, we have facelift drama, we have threats being given from lawyers, cease and desist. Like, there's so much going on over there. And it is, again, like you were saying, like this darkness and losing the plot a little bit. Like, I don't necessarily want this. Like, I feel like we're getting a little bit off track over there, and people are like living for the drama. They're living for defending Shannon.
I don't get it.
I don't get it. I'm like, make it make sense. Like, I don't know where everybody else, stands with Shannon. And I understand people really feel bad for her. And I'm not saying that I don't have sympathy for her. Like, clearly this woman is a hot mess. But we talk a lot about this evolution and like needing to see some growth and needing to see some effort being made here to at least clean up your side of the street. And this just proves that she's like more of a hot mess than ever, and that Bravo is more desperate than ever to really expose as much as possible on these shows and have kind of like these underlying darknesses. And I guess that I just really need to like plea it and put it out into the universe that like we want to make Housewives fun again. Like, I know Dubai didn't get the best ratings this season, but people are at least loving that nobody over there is getting sued. Like, for once, this is like the first time we had the lawyers on Jersey being involved, like even filming with the cast. We have lawyers and all this crap going on in OC now. Like, it's okay to get to a point of fighting, like even threaten a lawsuit. Like, I love a threatening of a cease and desist. That's very OC seasons, back in the day too, when they would threaten each other. Like, I think Gina, Keo, and Tamra had a famous like lawsuit and cease and desist between them. But I just want to get back to a point where like we don't actually have a lawyer being involved, and we're just fighting amongst the women. We don't need these like third party representatives. And I don't know, we're getting so lost in it. But do you have any thoughts about the Shannon of it all? And like with her DUI, are you feeling sympathy for her when you're watching this season? Or are you like,
well,
understand?
I'm not watching this season. Like I said, I'm kind of behind, but I do really want to catch up, and I really want to catch up on Jersey too. So actually, let me know where I should kind of start to catch up. Because I could catch up and then go back. You know what I'm saying? I do have sympathy for Shannon because I think it takes something very tragic and kind of rock bottomy to realize that you have a problem. And I think Shannon has had a drinking problem for years. They all have. And I mean, the Tres Amigas, come on, and they were going to do an alcohol line. I guess they're not doing that anymore, which is probably a great PR move. And I do feel really bad for Shannon. And I just think she is also a classic housewife. Got married, her husband was an asshole, cheated on her, got divorced, like kind of doesn't know which way is up because she wanted that just classic housewife life and doesn't really have a career. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I just think she's kind of been lost for a long time. And I think, you know, her main focus is her daughters. And now that they're grown, and I think, you know, she was trying to date and kind of get back out there. I forget whose house she said she was at, but when I literally saw that she drove into the house with the dog, felt really mostly bad for Archie. Is that his name?
Yes.
Archie?
Yes. Yep. Exactly. I think we all were like on the edge of our seats finding out if Archie was going to be okay.
And also, hello, thank God she didn't go through that person's house. And thank God nobody was, you know, walking their dog at 10 p.m. or whatever. I mean, that was almost right by the front door. It was right there. You know what I mean? And had it not been stucco and had it been a different type of, like, you know, siding or brick or something like that, maybe it wouldn't have been as strong. I have no idea. Maybe she was going faster. It would have been, it doesn't even matter if it was stucco. She would have gone through the side of, I just think about that, you know, when you think about people driving cars into like gas stations or salons, nail salons, things like that. And
yeah,
it's really sad. I definitely know it was an accident. Unfortunately, she is in the public eye. So now we all know about it. And I do think, unfortunately, she can't really drink anymore ever. Even if she goes to rehab, even if it's been 5 years, even if she really doesn't quote have a drinking problem, or maybe it's like a binge problem or so, I don't know. Just think for optics, she like really shouldn't ever drink again, because I think that's going to be the biggest stain. Because literally, as a child been there, you gone through the house, had somebody been walking their dog, had you run over a fucking raccoon, dude, I have no idea, just would have been so much worse. And it was pretty bad. Do feel bad for Shannon. I do think that she's owning it a little bit this season, and to see Tamara kind of kick her when she's down, I'm kind of getting both sides though, because I understand it's not great, but like I do understand, like she shouldn't just get kind of a slap on the wrist and go to AA and get a DUI on her record. Like I get that, and go to community service. Like I get that, but at the same time, like I think Tamara's being a little harsh, and I don't think Shannon is in the space to receive any of that yet, and I don't think she's there in her healing journey to receive any of that.
I agree. I think Tamara's taking it personally. Shannon's response, if Shannon gets better, if Shannon goes to rehab, she feels like it's like her responsibility for some reason. And it's not. It's not Tamara. Tamara should just be able to let Shannon make her own mistakes, learn lessons on her own, and hopefully be able to, in some due time, actually make some progress at getting her shit together. Because I think we're sick of Shannon having bad seasons. But you're right. Like I am a Tamara fan forever. Like I think that she is the architect of housewives. Like she just is the perfect example. I think she's given us some of the most iconic moments, and she's on my Mount Rushmore of housewives. So I don't think this is her best season. I don't think she's playing this right, but I do think, you know, we've all had a friend like that even a family member maybe that just has substance abuse issues, or even some of our friends that are like addicted to love and like are dating bad guys all the time, or like it's just, we all have a friend that when they're going through these struggles, you just want to see them do better. And I think also another layer of this is that they were in business together. And like you said, they were going to maybe do this tequila line, or they were doing this tour that had a lot to do with drinking. And I think Tamara was like, you fucked up my bag too. Like these mistakes did affect me. I had a paycheck. I had shows. They had tour shows that they canceled, like tickets that were refunded. Like I think there's a little bit of that, like fourth wall breaking too, that she hasn't been, I don't think she's hurting for the money. It's not like Tamara's going to like not be able to put food on her table because of it. But that idea that like, I think she is mad at Shannon for like messing up the whole thing. Now there's a rift between them and Vicky, and like it's the Tres Amigas have been broken up. So it's hard to see. I actually think they're going to all get back together though. That's my hot take prediction.
Yeah. And I do think like, I agree with you. And I guess I didn't think about the fuck up of the bag scenario, because it's like, hello, we had a business. Like, how could you be so stupid to destroy our future? Like, this was our retirement plan. We were going to have fun. And I get it. Yeah, they probably don't need the money per se. Maybe Shannon does. But, you know, like, Also, who just wants to sit at home and fight with friends all day? Like, especially somebody busy as Tamra or Vicky. You know what I mean? Like, Vicky had a career for a really long time, or maybe still does. And Tamra has like her entrepreneur things with the gym, and then the gym closed, and then she's on Traders, and then she's doing multiple podcasts, and she's at Bravo. Like, she likes doing. And I don't think it's so much maybe the money aspect, but it is just kind of having like an extra opportunity to perform and being in front of fans and like just doing something with your time. And now it's like, well, what the fuck do I do? Like, the gym is closed, isn't it? And like me and I don't know. I actually also heard that allegedly her and Eddie might be separating.
Wow.
I don't know.
Season 19 is going to be good.
Woo! I don't know. I mean, I could just be making things up, but
no, I love a rumor.
That's what I heard because like the gym closed, and then like they're like living separate, or they're doing like really separate lives and stuff. Not saying that, you know, especially if you've been married for a long time, that you can't do things separately. But I think it's like the Ben and Jen thing. Like, they literally spent their second year of marriage at 50, quote, in their honeymoon phase apart. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's so
Not a good
true.
sign.
And they just released, you'll definitely have to catch up. Like, even though, you know, to me, this season isn't, I like loved the new season of Jersey. I think you should definitely start with rewatching that, because I think it's only like 13 episodes.
Okay.
And I thought it was like camp. I thought it was hilarious. I couldn't wait for every new episode. I know people were like hating it, but I think you and I are so similar. You're going to love it. OC to me moves a little bit slower. So that's more like you might not sit and binge it all in one day, but I think you'll enjoy following along. And the mid-season trailer just dropped for it, and they allude to a lot of a big shift coming up, which is going to be that Tamra and Eddie are going to be, you know, instead of fighting with Shannon, they're going to be instead fighting with Jen and Ryan, because of all of this FBI investigation and everything that went down with Ryan. And it looks like they're going to like kind of like change the energy, and like Shannon's going to have a little bit of a break for the rest of the season, while they sink their teeth into Jen and her drama and use that as a storyline instead. So I'm wondering if, like you're saying, this rumor of Tamra and Eddie getting divorced comes from them having such a, I mean, it looks like they're involved in a lot of drama, Eddie himself too. So I think we're going to have to see, but that's a great way to end the episode, because we really so many different, you know, different stories, all these different housewives that kind of like crossed over into the zeitgeist this week. But so much stuff going on. I had so much fun talking to you all day, Rhea. Like, that's the thing about doing these and like talking about these things now. Like, now when there's future developments, even as much as us finding out that Tom Girardi was found guilty, like, I'm going to be texting you being like, oh my God, did you hear? Oh my God, did you see? So I'm really glad we did this.
It'll be so nice, actually. Yeah, me too. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Yes. Everybody go follow Raya Hensler. Is it coffee.meets.vodka, right?
Yeah, okay, because somebody else has Coffee Meets Vodka and they won't respond, and I hate them. And anywho, there's dots. It's at Coffee Meets with an S Vodka on Instagram and TikTok. And you can follow me on YouTube, Coffee Meets Vodka, and then anywhere you get podcasts, Coffee Meets Vodka.
Yes, everybody go follow. We automatically give everybody 5 stars, even if you don't have time to listen to us, because we're putting the work in and we're here for the right reasons. So make sure you do support us and stay tuned on all of our future developments. Thanks again, Rhea. We'll be talking to you soon. Have a good day, everybody. And ciao, Bellas.
Ciao. Of course. And I'm serious about like, let's get on a rotation.